mnemonic is mica. What is mica? Mica is Welcome to today's class. Today we'll be talking about biology, and we'll be looking at some repeated questions that have often been repeated over the years as a part of your exams. And I want you to pay attention. I'm going to be giving you mnemonics that you can use to remember. I'll break down complex topics for you. Now let's look at the question on the board. Complete the table below by stating 5 major phyla of the kingdom Animalia. Give one example of each. All right. So what? So the table says complete the table by stating 5 major phyla. So the phylum, then example, and give one example of each. Example. Now, before we talk about the different phyla, living things are basically classified into 5 kingdoms, all right, which you already know. The 5 kingdoms are the kingdom Kingdom Monera. So let me write it here so that I can give you some examples. You have the kingdom Monera, and what are the organisms under the kingdom Monera? You have bacteria, and then you have blue-green algae. Blue-green algae is also called cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria. Now, they are the prokaryotic organisms. So monerans are the prokaryotic organisms. And what are prokaryotic organisms? They are organisms that do not have membrane-bound organelles. All right, they do not have nuclear membrane. They don't have true nucleus. Their hereditary materials or genetic materials are scattered within the cytoplasm of the cell. So they don't have a nucleus. Those are the prokaryotic cells, so they are monerans. Okay. The second kingdom is kingdom Protoctista. Okay, so this kingdom Protoctista divided into Protista and Protozoa. All right, under the protists, okay, Protista, that's where you have the algae. The algae, they are plant-like. They are not true plants, but they are plant-like. Okay, they look like plants. They have pigments. You have the green algae, which is called the Chlorophyta. You have the red algae, Rhodophyta. You have the brown algae. You have the yellowish algae, different colors. All right. So you have the blue-green algae, which is the Cyanophyta. Now, protozoans they are like the early animals. Proto means less developed, primary. Basic. Zoa is from the word zoology, animals. So the early animals. Example of protozoans are your amoeba, which you call amoeba. It's amoeba. You have paramecium. You have plasmodium. You have euglena. All of these and many more. Amoeba, paramecium, euglena, trichomonas, trypanosoma, leishmania, Hemiria, Coccidia, all of them, they are examples of protozoans, okay, etc. And then you have kingdom fungi. Under this kingdom fungi, you have, they are the saprophytic organisms that feed on dead, decaying organic matter. Example is your bread mold, all right, yeast, mucor, rhizopus. Okay, bread mold, yeast, mucor, rhizopus. Yeah, those are examples of fungi. What about your mushroom? In fact, that's the first one you should remember. Mushroom, yes, mushroom. All of these, they are fungi, kingdom fungi. Okay, then we have the kingdom Plantae. Now look at it. I actually outlined it in order of complexity. It's very important that you outline in order of complexity. Next is Plantae. And under the kingdom Plantae, those are the plants, the true plants. Okay, so under these true plants, you have the different divisions that make up the Plantae. There are basically 4 divisions: the Thallophyta, the Bryophyta, Pteridophyta, and Spermatophyta. Okay, so and under Spermatophyta is further divided into angiosperms and gymnosperms. The gymnosperms are the non-flowering plants, seeds that are not coated, while the angiosperms, they are the flowering plants. Gymnosperms are non-flowering. Right. So under Plantae, you have Thallophyta, that's division Thallophyta. You have division Bryophyta, division Pteridophyta, and there is division Spermatophyta. Now, under Thallophyta, the algae and the fungi, which is actually part of what we've done here. That is why in some cases they don't include Thallophyta under Plantae, because algae is already here, then fungi is already here. But Thallophyta, so that's another question they can ask you. Thallophyta is divided into algae and fungi. If you see, I said algae are plants-like, they are not true plants. So Bryophyta, example of Bryophyta, you have mosses and liverwort. Mosses, liverwort. Example of Pteridophyta, you have ferns, Dryopteris, etc. That is ferns. Under Spermatophyta, you have gymnosperms and angiosperms. There's further. So Spermatophyta is further divided into gymnosperms and angiosperms. Gymnosperms are non-flowering. Example of gymnosperm, you have cycad, you have pine, you have conifers, you have ginkgo. Those are examples of gymnosperm. While under angiosperms are further divided into monocotyledons and dicotyledons. And under these angiosperms, you have your maize grain, you have your granules, and all of that. So all of these are just basic classification of living things. So, but let's go to the main question, which is complete the table stating 5 major phyla of the animal kingdom. So under the plant kingdom, you talk about division. In case they ask you, in case the question you were asked is on Plantae, you are not going to use phylum, you use division. But for Animalia, so after this Plantae now, the 5th kingdom is the kingdom Animalia, and that is what the question is about. And that is what we're talking about right now. So take note: 5 kingdoms: Monera, Prototista, Fungi, Plantae, and Animalia that we are talking about right now. So let's look at the animal kingdoms and their examples. The animal kingdom, the first phylum we're talking about is Porifera. What is Porifera? Porifera is from the word pore. Pore spaces are holes. So these are organisms that have holes in their body. They are basically aquatic organisms. Example of Poriferas are sponges. So if you look at your sponges, you see that they have holes. Okay, sponges, that's Porifera. The second one I would like to talk about is Protozoa. Now, if you check, earlier we classified Protozoa under Prototista. So there are some of your textbooks where they will not mention protozoans, but it is a phylum on its own in the animal kingdom because they are actually the earliest animals, Protozoa. So they are also included, Protozoa. So examples of Protozoa, you have Euglena, you have Amoeba, you have Paramecium, you have Plasmodium, Plasmodium. Now let's move to the next. The phylum Coelenterata. Coelenterata. Coelenterata, not Coelenterata. Some people call it Coelenterata. It's coelentrates. Okay, they are coelentrates. So Coelenterata, and this Coelenterata is also called Cnidaria. Cnidaria. All right, phylum Cnidaria. Examples are Hydra, Obelia, Physalia, Aurelia. Sea animals, etc. So they are examples of coelentrates. They are basically aquatic organisms. They live in water. So after the coelentrates, the next is Platyhelminthes. Platyhelminthes. What is the meaning of Platyhelminthes? Platy means flat. Helminth means worm. So helminthology is the study of worms. Platy means flat. So Platyhelminthes are flatworms. Flatworms. So examples of flatworms are tapeworm. Tapeworm is an example of flatworm. Tapeworm. Of course, you have planaria as well. Planaria is another example. Now, take note under this tapeworm, there are two major tapeworm that actually affect human hosts. All right, you have, which are very popular ones, the Taenia. So examples of this tapeworm, you have Taenia solium. Taenia solium, you can take note of it, smallest. Solium is the pig tapeworm, and then you have Taenia saginata, which is in cattle tapeworm. Taenia saginata. So those are examples of flatworm. And let's look at the next. You have the nematoda, phylum nematoda. These are nematodes. They are parasitic worms, and they are also called roundworms. Okay, roundworms. Example of nematoda, you have guinea worm, liver fluke, the blood fluke, liver fluke, blood fluke, whipworm, ringworm, whipworm, yes, whipworm, trichinella. Then you have trichuris, you have, liver fluke, whipworm. Trying to recall roundworm, okay, roundworm. Okay, then you have the annelida. The annelids are segmented worms. These are worms that have segments. All right, they are metamerically segmented. They have segmented body. Example is your earthworm. The examples of annelida. And then you have phylum mollusca. Example of mollusca, you have your snails, you have your octopus, you have barnacles, you have periwinkles, squids, right? etc. They are basically aquatic organisms, mollusca. And then you have arthropoda. Arthro means jointed legs. Poda means legs. So arthropoda means jointed legs. Example of arthropods. Now these arthropods, they are divided into 4 classes. And I'm going to give you a mnemonic for those 4 classes. The mnemonic is MICA. What is MICA? MICA is out phylum arthropoda. Nice arthropoda. I said they have jointed legs, or yes, jointed appendages, arthropoda. And I said they have 4 classes. You know, this is a phylum. Under this phylum, there are 4 classes. Myriapoda, that's mica. You can type that in the comment section. Mica, Myriapoda. Myriad means many. Myriads, if I say there are myriads of opportunities, means many opportunities. Myriapoda, poda means legs. So myriapods means they have many legs. E.g. centipede and millipede. Centipede and millipedes. They have lots of legs. Centipede, hundreds of legs. Millipede, thousands, millions of legs. Millipede. Then you have I for insecta. Now these insecta, they are the true insects. Okay. Example is your cockroach, housefly, etc. They are, and then you have crustacea. So they can ask you to write on the aquatic class, the class that is aquatic amongst the arthropods. That is the crustacea. E.g., you have the shrimp, you have crayfish, lobsters, prawns, okay, etc. And of course, you have A is the arachnida, where you have the spider, where you have the scorpion, where you have the termites. Okay. Next is the phylum Echinodermata. Echinoderms. All right. Example: your sea cucumber, sea urchins, brittle star, starfish, etc. The example of echinoderms, they are basically aquatic. Echinodermata, right? And the final is the phylum Chordata. That is where you have the vertebrates. So these chordates are the vertebrates, the chordata, phylum Chordata. Example of chordata: goat, man. Now I would like to also talk a bit about this chordata. In this chordata, they can ask you to write on the classes of organisms in the phylum Chordata. So there are basically 5 classes of vertebrate animals. Those are the chordates, the chordata. And what are the classes? You have the class Pisces. The Pisces are the fishes. Then there is the class Amphibia. Amphibia are the amphibians. Those are the toads and frogs. Toad, frogs, newts, salamander. All right, they are examples of the amphibia. Then you have the class Reptilia. Please take note of this in your exam. Not class reptiles. Class Reptilia. Class Amphibia. Not class amphibians. No, amphibians are examples of organisms in the class Amphibia. Right? So class Reptilia, the reptiles. Example, you have the snakes, the lizard, the crocodile. Okay, snakes, lizard, crocodile, alligator, etc. They are examples of reptiles. Then you have the class, the turtle as well. Then you have the class aves. The class aves are the birds. All right, e.g., like your fowl, your chicken, your turkey, your parrot, fowl or chicken, etc. Those are the birds. And of course, the last class under the chordata is the class Mammalia. Now the mammalia are the organisms that have the mammary gland, which is the breast. They give rise to their young ones alive and they breastfeed their young ones. That is where you have man. That's where you have goat. Class Mammalia, you have man, you have goat, cow, etc. Now, before I stop on this, I want to point your attention to this. They can ask you that what is the type of hearts that you have in these organisms? So for the kingdom Pisces or the class Pisces, they have two heart chamber, two compartments of their heart, which is one auricle and one ventricle. One auricle, one ventricle. The class Amphibia, they have two auricles and one ventricle. Two auricles and one ventricle. The reptilia, they have two auricles and partially divided ventricles. Those are the reptiles. Two auricles, partially divided ventricles. While the aves and the mammals, these last two, they have four heart chambers. And those heart chambers are two auricles and two ventricles. Two auricles, two ventricles for the aves and the mammals. So that means if you've seen the heart of a fowl, of a chicken, the way it is, that is an example of how the heart of a human looks like. The only difference is that the heart of a human is more complex, but it has four chambers just like that of a chicken. All right, so there are two auricles, the upper chamber are the auricles and the lower chambers are the ventricles. So in the next class, I'll be talking some more about other things that can come out in your exam. But if you have a question on any of these that I've explained, please feel free to drop it in the comment section and we'll be back to respond to your questions. Thank you.